Hey there! Have you ever found yourself wanting to talk about your day in French, but you get to the evening part and the words just aren't there? Well, you are in the perfect place. We're going to give you 10, just 10, super useful phrases to cover everything from clucking out of work to just chilling on the couch. Ready? Let's jump right in. Okay, so picture this. You're in a little cafe in Paris, someone strikes up a conversation, and they ask, "So, what do you usually do in the evenings?" That little moment of panic, right? What do you say? Well, our whole goal today is to completely erase that feeling. We're going to arm you with the exact words to tell that story with confidence. And it's really not that hard, I promise. We're just going to learn 10 essential expressions together. Think of them like building blocks, Little pieces that you can snap together to create your own unique evening story in French. By the end of this, you'll be describing your routine like it's second nature. All right, so where does every evening story begin? Well, usually it's right when the workday wraps up. So let's start there with the first part of our journey, leaving the office. First up, how do you say you finish the day? In French, it's terminer la journée. Let's break that down. Terminer, pretty straightforward. But journée, that J sound is soft. It's not like the J in judge, it's more like the S in treasure or measure. Je, journée. Got it? So you could say, je termine à 17h30, which means I finish at 5:30 p.m. Okay, so you've finished your day. What's next? You go home, of course. And for that, we say, rentrer à la maison. Now, let's focus on that first word, rentrer. That en sound is one of those classic French nasal sounds. Imagine you're about to say the English word on, but you stop the air in your nose, kind of like a hum. Rentrer, rentrer. Let's try it in a sentence. Je rentre à 18h. I go home at 6 p.m. All right, so you've left work, you're on your way home, but let's be real, the day is rarely over at that point, is it? This next part is all about that in-between time, the errands and activities you might do before you can finally kick your feet up. A super common one for a lot of people is picking up the kids. In French, that's aller chercher les enfants. Now here's a cool little pronunciation trick. See how les ends with an S and enfant starts with a vowel? French speakers actually link those together with a Z sound. It's called a liaison. So instead of les enfants, it sounds more like les enfants. It just flows so much better. The full sentence would be, je vais chercher les enfants à 16h30. Okay, another classic errand, grocery shopping. For this, you'd say faire les courses. This one's pretty friendly, pronunciation-wise. Faire les courses. You've got this. So you could say something like, je fais les courses après le travail, which means I do the groceries after work. All right, let's move on to some activities. Maybe you like to get a workout in. The phrase for that is aller au sport. Now, literally, this means to go to the sport, which sounds a little funny in English, but it's the go-to phrase for saying you're going to the gym or doing any kind of workout. Super useful. Aller au sport. For example, je vais au sport le soir. I go to the gym in the evening. Or, hey, maybe you're not the gym type. Maybe your evening is a little more social. In that case, you might rencontrer des amis, meet with friends. And look, there's that liaison again. It's not des amis, it's des amis. See how that smooths everything out? So you could say, je rencontre mes amis pour un 5 à 7. And that 5 à 7, a 5 à 7, is basically the French term for a happy hour, that classic after-work get-together. So there you have it. 2 different paths for your evening. Are you on team active with aller au sport, or are you more on team social with rencontrer des amis? Think about it for a second. Which one is more you? Because this is how you start to piece together your story in French, not just memorizing words. And at last, we've made it to the best part of the evening. You're finally home. The errands are done. The outside world is shut out. It's time to wind down, settle in, and just relax. So what's one of the first things most of us do when we get home? For me, it's definitely préparer le dîner, to cook dinner. This one's pretty friendly for English speakers. Préparer le dîner. Sounds a lot like how it's spelled, right? So you might say, je prépare le dîner vers 18h, which just means I cook dinner around 6 p.m. Okay, dinner's done, the kitchen's clean-ish. Time to unwind. A very popular choice is to regarder la télévision, to watch TV. Let's talk about that French R in regarder. It's not a hard R like in English. It's made in the back of your throat. Think of it as a really, really light gargle sound. R, regarder. So a full sentence could be Je regarde souvent la télévision, which means I often watch TV. But, hey, if TV isn't your vibe, maybe you prefer to just lire, to read. It's a super simple word, but so useful. Lire. For example, you could say Je lis parfois avant de dormir. I sometimes read before sleeping. And our last phrase is the perfect summary for winding down. Se reposer. This means to relax or to rest. It's just a great catch-all term for taking it easy. Now, notice that little se at the front? That means when you talk about yourself, you have to say je me repose. Literally, I relax myself. So you could say le soir, je me repose. In the evening, I relax. Okay, we did it. We've gone through all 10 phrases and basically built a template for a whole evening. Now, let's do a really quick review, a little lightning round, just to make sure these phrases are locked in. Time for a little practice. I'm going to say the phrase, and I want you to repeat it right after me. Don't be shy, say it out loud. Ready? Let's go. Terminer la journée. Rentrer à la maison. Aller chercher les enfants. Faire les courses. Aller au sport. Rencontrer des amis. Préparer le dîner. Regarder la télévision. Lire. And the last one, se reposer. Fantastic. You're sounding more French already. So the final challenge is for you. Take a look at this list. How would you build your ideal evening? Mix them up, put them in order. Maybe you finish work, then meet friends, then go home and read. You now have the building blocks to say that. And that right there, that's the magic. You're not just memorizing words anymore. You're starting to actually think and create in French. Awesome work today.